Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Kellen here with Droid Life. So I've got my hand the HTC U Ultra, which is their first flagship for 2017. We unboxed it the other day, gave you sort of a quick tour of the outside. We want to start diving in now to software, other features, and things like that. For those of you that do plan to buy this to get you prepared to get the most out of your phone. So anyways, we're going to do that by starting off with the first 10 things to do with your HTC U Ultra. As the unofficial first item on the list, I'm going to recommend that you never leave home without this guy. So this is the cleaning cloth that actually came with the phone. I don't know that I've ever seen a phone include a cleaning cloth in the box, but it's clearly HTC acknowledging that this is the ultimate fingerprint magnet of all time. Look, it's such a mirror. You can constantly see me in it. But yeah, you're going to want to clean this thing constantly, or I guess you could throw a case on it. And they do include one of those in the box as well. But yeah. Cleaning cloth, pocket, wallet, bag, whatever you can, include this thing in order to keep this guy clean. All right, moving on to official list now. So I know you guys gave me some grief over this in the LG G6 video, but we're going to talk about it again. So SIM cards tray and SD card tray. So in the box, you're going to have this little guy. This is a SIM removal tool. So up top on this phone, you're going to slide this in the little pinhole. It will then eject the SIM tray, which doubles as an SD tray. So no, I'm not going to tell you to put a SIM in. You guys should know that you have to do that in order to use your phone. But on the bottom half down here is your SIM, which takes a nano SIM, and then up here is your SD card slot. So this phone doesn't have an SD card slot. You may as well take advantage of that extra storage. The phone does come with a base of 64 gigs, so it has a lot of storage, but you can always throw an SD card in to really take advantage of that, especially if you're taking lots of pictures, shooting 4K video and all of that good stuff. All right, so from there though, HTC's always done this really good job of including motion launch gestures, and motion launch gestures are some items they let you do from the lock screen without ever unlocking, or I should say without ever touching an actual button. So we're talking about double tap to wake. So you can actually double tap to wake on this phone, and then you can double tap to make it go back to sleep, only from the lock screen, but you can double tap. And this one takes an extra force on that double tap, by the way. But you can double tap, sleep, and wake from there. But you can also do things like just swipe up, and it will unlock the phone. Now, you can find these by jumping into settings and then scrolling down here, and you will see this option right here called display gestures and buttons. So if we jump in here and scroll all the way to the bottom, there's an option down here for motion launch gestures. Now, if you open those, there's some other things like swipe left, which I believe would be that way, to go directly to home. Swiping up, like I just said, unlocks. And so if, say, you had Chrome open as you locked it, by swiping up, that would unlock you right into Chrome. You can specifically go home, though, or you could even swipe into blink feed if you want. You can even swipe down twice to open the camera. So it's just one of those extra shortcuts. And they give you little tutorials up here on how to do each one of these, but that's where you access them. Highly recommend including some of those. One other thing to keep in mind from the lock screen, if you're using the stock HTC launcher and you have shortcuts down at the bottom and you wake your phone up, you will see those shortcuts down there. So if you want to just jump straight into Chrome, you can grab that, or whatever other shortcuts you have. Now, you can't really control those outside of whatever they're set to on your home screen. So swipe up and that'll take you right into there. The next thing we always like to tell you how to do is get into your camera in the quickest possible way, so you never miss that shot. So I just showed you one of those, which is a motion launch gesture, which is a double swipe down that seriously works about 1 out of 4 times. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but you can do that from the lock screen. The one I will recommend is this one. It's a double tap on the power button, and since you're often holding your phone like this with your thumb basically resting there, you can do this one and it works with your screen off or your screen on. Like, you could be in Chrome and just double tap that and then your camera launches. It's going to be the quickest way, although there is, again, that motion launch gesture. Now the next thing is this guy right here, your fingerprint reader. So you may as well set this thing up, and you do that by going into, well, you can set it up during the setup of your phone, which is probably the recommended way, but the other way would be into settings, look for fingerprint scanner. So you tap on that and you'll have to set up a PIN or password or something like that. From there, you can set up all the fingers you want. So I have both thumbs set up and both index fingers set up. Thumbs are set up so that when I'm holding the phone like this, I can easily just put my finger there to wake it up. The index fingers are set up so that when this thing's lying on a desk, I can just do that and it will unwake it. I should say it'll awake it, unlock it. The best way to do this, though, if you want to continue adding fingerprints, is just to go in here, tap add fingerprint. It'll walk through the setup. You decide which finger you want on there. It's pretty easy. But as we always mention as well, this is just one of those convenient security features. You add it because it it locks your phone down should you lose it, but then you can also just get into it really easily without typing in a PIN password and all of that stuff every time. All right, so next thing I would say is set up Google Assistant. So Google Assistant is now available to all Nougat and Marshmallow phones. This phone ships with Android 7.0 Nougat. It's available. In order to launch Assistant, you can long press and get into the Assistant that way. And that's a long press on the home button / fingerprint reader. Or of course you can say, okay, Google, and that will launch it if that works. Okay, Google. And you can see it launches up there. And then I can ask the Assistant for whatever it is I want the Assistant to do. And so I would set that up because you can learn, you can have it set reminders, add things to your grocery list, get directions, look things up, answer trivia, play games, all that stuff. We've done a whole video on Google Assistant. I'll link to that below, but you might as well set that up. And again, that's a long press there if you don't really want to use that voice command all the time. All right, so next thing, I would get your notification area in proper format. So these are just notifications I obviously have in here, but if you swipe this down another notch, you will see your quick settings. And so if you hit this little pencil option up here, it lets you edit these and edit the order of them. Now, why I say get this set up properly is when you do this first sort of, hey, there's me. If you do this sort of first swipe down, so if we're like this and we do this sort of first swipe down, you have these 6 buttons up here that are your quickest, most easy to reach shortcuts. So I would at least edit it so that these are in the proper order, or at least show the things that you use the most. So for me, I use Wi-Fi, I switch out of portrait mode, check my battery, go into do not disturb, use a flashlight, or turn on night mode. So swipe that down. You can see the order here and you can swipe over if there's additional ones, but hit that pencil button and then you just sort of grab, you long press on one. If I can actually get that to work. There we go. And then you just drag it to wherever you want it, and you can see things adjusting, and then you just set things down wherever it is that you want them. And so I would get these set up, at least the first 6, just so that they are accessible when you do that first swipe down at all times. All right, so the next thing you'll notice up here, I do have a little secondary display, and right now it does say, hi, Droid Life. If you watched our unboxing or checked the unboxing on the site, it said something a little more colorful previously. But that is a secondary display, and it does things like allow you to change tracks in terms of music. You can launch apps through shortcuts. You can even have the weather up there. You can set up calendar things to show up there as well. So in order to set this up, we jump back into settings and we scroll down until you see secondary display down here. So secondary display, if you jump in there, there's some settings to this. You've got little tutorials down here that tell you how this will work. So for one, you can just swipe between them, which I just showed you how to do. But you can also, if your phone is off or sitting on a desk, just by picking it up and lifting it towards you will turn that screen on. So one little pet peeve of mine, that's not an always on to screen like it is on, say, LG's V10 or V20. You actually have to activate it by lifting it, or the third option would be to double tap on it. So kind of inconvenient. That should just be an always on display in my opinion, but that is how you access it with the screen set to off. But you can toggle this on or off. So you could say I never want it to turn on when the display is locked and off, or when the screen's on, you can have that go away as well. So if I tap that little button, you can see it then goes away, or I can have it on there as well. If you want to jump in to customize that, you actually just tap on either of these and it'll give you an option as to what you want to show on that secondary display. So you can see I've got some stuff unchecked. You can also rearrange the order of them, and you can do this from both of them. So you do have some more options when the screen is on, but you guys get it. You can have your favorite contacts on there as well, those app shortcuts and things like that. And so they do allow you to jump into things. So if I go to the weather shortcut, I can then tap it. Even though it's showing me sort of a schedule, I can tap on that to get in there. I can launch apps like, say, Twitter, and then I can pull up Twitter as long as you can reach up there and all that stuff. So anyways, set those up, you may as well. The next thing I would then suggest you do is look into this little guy down here. So USB Type-C port, and this phone comes with USB Type-C headphones. These are HTC's USonic headphones. So we'll set that guy down for a second and attempt to untangle these on camera. But so HTC included HTC USB Type-C headphones in the box, and they've been custom set up to work with this phone. So there is no headphone jack on this phone, as you guys know. You will need to use these. I should point out that there's also not a headphone jack USB Type-C adapter in there. So you don't have an adapter that does Type-C to 3.5mm, which Seems like an oversight on HTC's part in case you don't want to use these. You want to use your actual own headphones that aren't wireless. But either way, these come in the box. And you may as well set them up because they are USonic, which means they sort of custom set up to your ear. So as you insert this, especially for the first time, it'll have you walk through a setup in order to set up an audio profile. So you can actually see right here, there's a USonic section here. I'll unplug this so you can see how this works. But when you don't have anything plugged in, HTC Boom Sound is working, which is your speakers working. This phone does have dual speakers, but when you have these inserted, these are your USonic earbuds. You can see the boom sound goes away and it's USonic, and you can toggle this on or off depending on whether or not you want to use this profile, but you go in and it walks you through a profile. So essentially what you do is put your earbuds in, and so you're not going to be able to see this on camera necessarily, but so I've got these in ear, and you would hit plus, and then it says, hey, I'm going to create a personal audio profile for you. So you start scanning, and then it makes some noises in my ear, and the earbuds are in right now, and it's analyzing a profile, and it's trying to figure out the best audio sound for my ears. And now it's actually playing audio for me, and you can toggle on and off whether or not to see what the audio profile sounds like, if you like it or not, and you can name it and things like that. So then you have audio profile sets up, and you can jump between the two, or if you want to, you can even delete these things in case none of them work for you and you want just something new altogether. All right, so moving on from USonic, the next thing I would say is we really just start customizing some things. So this phone uses a LCD display, and depending on your eye, it may look too cool, too warm, or who knows, maybe it's perfect out of the box. But if you want to adjust it, you just go into display, and then there is actually an option here for color temperature. And so color temperature, you can start adjusting. So it does give you a white over here, so you can see the color of white, and then it does use whatever wallpaper you have set. So if I swipe this way, your display should get cooler or more blue if you want. And if I swipe this way, it should get warmer or more yellowy orange. And it certainly is doing that. If you want to just jump in the middle, you can then see how that affects you. I think this is tuned pretty well, so I've left it in the middle, but it's up to you how you want it. This is just where you would adjust that. And if you screw everything up, you can always hit reset to default there. All right, so finally, I would say set up night mode and then also customize your home screen. So that's actually two different things. But if we're in here still, you'll see there is a night mode. If we toggle that on, it sort of changes everything to that amber color. And you should use this at night because, well, it's easier on your eyes in dark situations. And you can have it enabled automatically. You can also set this up to be warmer or cooler as well. So I guess this sort of falls in line, and that is crazy orange. Sort of falls in line with that last tip. So anyways, just keep in mind that night mode is there, and that's starting to become a nice standard feature on most Android phones. All right, anyway, now the last one would be customize your home screen. So if you are using HTC's home screen launcher, you can swipe over this way and you'll get into blink feed. You can pinch out and add panels and add widgets and things like that. You can also long press and you will get a pretty big list of things that can be tweaked. So you can change your home screen layout, which is essentially what I just showed you. Well, I should say that switches to either a classic layout or freestyle. Classic is sort of this style where you're in columns and rows. If you want to switch to freestyle, that allows you to sort of put things wherever you want them and sort of create this freestyle layout. So let's long press on there again and show you some other things. So home screen wallpaper, you guys have set a wallpaper before. I'm assuming you tap on that, decide where you want to set your wallpaper from. If we long press here, change theme. So there is a theme engine here on HTC's phones. It's been there for a little while, but if you load this up, there's a whole bunch of pre-made themes you can choose from. There's obviously the default theme, but HTC allows you to change everything from fonts to wallpapers to all sorts of stuff. You can actually hit this edit button up top, and you can see in here, lock screen wallpaper, home screen wallpaper, all apps wallpaper, the colors of things, the icons of things, the clock, ringtones, all that stuff can actually be customized in here. So if you ever really want to tweak anything about your phone and that sort of personalized stuff, that would be where you do it. Long press again here. You can also get to those apps and widgets you want to use or manage screen pages, which the easiest way is just a pinch to get into there. So anyways, a little bit long video, but this was just the first 10 things I think you should look at in terms of your HTC U Ultra. We'll have more coming, including tips and tricks and that full review. So be sure to subscribe. We're Droid Life. Peace.